You're watching Community Conversations, a Concord TV production.
Hello and welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, Josh Hardy. I'm the Executive Director of Concord TV, and I'm really thrilled to be here today with Kathleen Reardon. She's the CEO of the New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits, and we're here specifically to talk about New Hampshire Gives, which is coming up next week, June 9th and 10th, as an initiative to help raise money for nonprofits here in the Granite State. So thank you, Kathleen, for joining me and for explaining some of this to us.
Sure, I'm absolutely delighted to be here, Josh. I'm the CEO at the Center for Nonprofits. And for the last 5 years, we've hosted New Hampshire Gives, which is really a powerful event that brings our community together to show their support of nonprofit organizations. What it really is a website, a crowdfunding platform where people can go to nhgives.org. They can look at organizations that they know they care about, or they can look up a specific cause or community that they want to support and can find out about those organizations and donate directly to those organizations through this. And one of the things that's really fun and exciting about it is a 24-hour online giving event. And so you'll see organizations and individuals who are raising funds and awareness for various organizations. They'll be posting things on social media and putting information out on emails to really rally supporters. And so part of the fun of that is really showing how much you care about various nonprofit organizations, engaging your friends and followers if you're involved in social media in the process, and really making philanthropy a very visible event for all of us.
So, and that starts what, June 9th, you said?
It starts yep,
June
correct.
9th.
It starts at June 9th at 6 p.m. It will go for 24 hours. Nonprofits, we have already close to 500 nonprofits who have set up profiles on the site.
Yep.
So you can already go on and see who's participating. And you can go and see, again, many nonprofits have already been letting their followers know that they're going to be part of the day and to get ready for that.
That's really exciting. It is in this very narrow amount of time. So I know for us at Concord TV, where it's been kind of reinvigorating to plan for that and to kind of, especially during these really difficult times, to kind of get excited behind that. And I'm sure that's true for other nonprofits. And I guess that leads into my next question, which is, we're obviously in an incredibly difficult time, both in terms of public health and public safety, but also financially for small businesses, performing arts, and in this case, nonprofits. And definitely at Concord TV, we've felt the brunt of that as well. So, what are your thoughts on the importance of New Hampshire Gives this year, given the COVID-19 pandemic and really the financial hardships that nonprofits are across the board suffering?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that New Hampshire Gives takes on a very important role and a special meaning in this time frame. We've seen across the state that nonprofits are responding to the needs of their communities. They're adapting their programs, and in many cases, responding to increased need from the community and demands for their services. At the same time, they're having to think differently about their operations. Many are going to remote operations, and responding to the fact that they've had to cancel fundraisers. Spring is a big time for fundraising events in New Hampshire, many of which have had to be postponed or canceled. So this is a real opportunity to allow people to give from where they are, which many times is at home now, and yet still be engaged with their communities. So this day in these 24 hours are, I think, even more important. The other thing I will say, I mean, Granite Staters are very generous and very supportive of their communities. And I think at these times, people want to have that feeling of belonging and to be part of something bigger than themselves. And so New Hampshire Gives also offers donors and people that want to understand how they can help a real great outlet for them as well.
That's a great point. That's a great way to put it. So could you tell us a little bit more? I heard last week about there's this, as if this wasn't exciting enough, that there's this matching donor program. I might be phrasing that incorrectly, but when we heard about that as participants, this was especially exciting to hear that
Yeah.
that certain donations up to a certain amount, I believe, will be matched to each organization. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, it's very exciting. Some very generous donors have stepped forward, and we have a $250,000 pool of matching funds site-wide. So what that means is any donation up to $1,000 will be matched dollar for dollar until those funds are expended. We did put a cap on it of up to $1,000. We certainly don't want major large gifts to sort of swoop in there. Although we want to support everyone in giving, and I think a lot of organizations are telling their supporters to give early. And I think that one of the things that's really exciting about a matching gift is that it multiplies the effect. So. And that's what New Hampshire Gives is all about. It's really about a lot of people coming together. So, many people contributing $25, makes an impact. And in here will make even more impact. So everyone will make a difference with this.
Right. And it makes right, exactly. And it makes you feel like as a donor, if you're going to give $25, you're really giving 50.
Correct.
Thinking about it in terms of that incremental amount, it takes it a long way. So that's exciting. Now, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say some nonprofits also have other specific matches that they've lined up. Perhaps their board of directors has a challenge match as well, and that may happen at a different time frame. So that's something that people can look at as well on the site. When it's live, it will show sort of the other matching opportunities.
Good. And that leads into perfectly that on the NH Gives page, the website, there's a list of all these different prizes for different kind of incentives, different types of incentives, it seemed like. Could you maybe just give us a couple examples? There were quite a few, so you don't have to list all of them. And certainly folks can go to nhgives.org to see the whole list. But what are a few examples just to give our audience a sense of the types of prizes? And those are prizes for the organization, not for the donor, but
correct.
Yeah,
correct. But they're a way. I mean, the way that New Hampshire Gives works is that there are prizes throughout the day to keep some of the excitement up and to help rally donors. So the first person who's registered on the site to make the donation, that will trigger an extra gift to the nonprofit that received that donor of $250. Throughout the day, there are different golden tickets, and that means that organizations that receive donations in those various timeframes will be eligible for a $250. And the more people that donate at that time, the more chances your organization has to get that extra golden ticket. And then we have regional prizes at the end of the 24 hours, so that the organizations that receive the most donors or the most dollars throughout the 24 hours in the given regions will receive prizes. And so, there will be leaderboards where people can see how nonprofits are faring. And again, that adds to some of the excitement for the nonprofits and the donors alike.
Yeah, it keeps that excitement going. So that's great to hear. I think the last you've given us a really good all-encompassing idea of how New Hampshire Gives works. But for nonprofits who may be watching this program or people affiliated with a nonprofit, I believe it's too late to sign up this year, but for next year's New Hampshire Gives, what would sort of be your advice or what would you say to recommend to them that they participate?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes. We've asked nonprofits to sign up early, in part because that gives them time to plan for the event and make the most use of it to plan their communications and engage champions in the event. So certainly encourage organizations who missed that deadline to observe how New Hampshire Gives works and to follow nhgives.org or sign up for newsletters at the New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits so they can be alerted to the event next year. We always want to have as many nonprofits participating as possible, and it's open to nonprofits of all sizes and across all of New Hampshire.
Good. Yeah, it just makes sense. If you're a nonprofit here in the Granite State, it just makes sense to join in and participate. So I want to thank you again, Kathleen Reardon, I'm sorry, CEO from the New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits. Thank you, Kathleen, for coming in and virtually, maybe next time we talk about this, we can actually be in the studio. Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be great. So
we'll plan on that for next year. But until then, folks can go to nhgives.org, and we're talking about June 9th and June 10th of next week, right? It goes into between those 2 days. So we'll certainly be part of that here at Concord TV, and hopefully it'll be a great event. So thanks.
Great. Thanks, Josh.